Pratt. Wakasa dia to dwa say Ghana mpanyufo a de entokwa enieden fon sabi mojahwegu koka twobo ye epre amonyosem tumidie e o Ghana ha say no o say Ghana fo ye ni yeden na yemomo eferi ye pa ya e wo omanji imo.
Those who introduce violence into our politics subvert democracy. Those who introduce violence into the politics, they rig elections. Introducing violence into elections is like rigging elections. Because you introduce violence into elections in order to intimidate people to run away, not to take part in the elections. You introduce violence into the election for you to do the things that are against the law. You introduce violence into the election when you are afraid of the true mandate of the people. So those who introduce violence into our politics, into our elections, are criminals. Those who introduce violence into our politics, into our elections and so on, subvert the will of the people. Those who introduce violence into our politics are determined to wreck this nation, and they must never be allowed to succeed. To my left are victims of what happened at Ayawaso War. If you are a Ghanaian and you don't rise up and speak about the pain of those victims, I don't know what kind of Ghanaian you are. If you are a Ghanaian and for the sake of partisan politics, you don't stand up to fight for these victims, then something is wrong. So every Ghanaian, no matter who you are, no matter what political party you belong to, no matter your religious orientation, we all have a responsibility to stand up and fight for these victims. There are people in our society who have refused to learn from history. And if you refuse to learn from history, you get confused not just about your past, but you also get confused about your present and your future. Because if you are learning from history, it will be obvious to us that those who sought to use violence as a means of capturing power should have known that they have failed throughout the ages. They will always fail. If our people come to realize that the only way of winning an election is to win the gun battle, how can you sustain democracy? When civilian administrations use the gun to stay in power, their opponents may also be tempted to use other means to remove them from power.
Operation Clear Your Fraud